Bernie Sanders gets smeared so often, you could almost set your watch to it. Just know that it's every hour on the hour. If you miss one, don't worry. Another smear bust will be coming right away. Bernie Sanders was at a conference at the Benedict College in South Carolina. The conference was covering criminal justice reform. Now, we all know Bernie Sanders has a very comprehensive criminal justice reform package. It's called Justice and Safety for All. And it covers things like ending cash bail, legalizing marijuana, getting rid of for-profit prisons, and cutting down the amount of prison time, shrinking that. It's the most comprehensive deep dive into criminal justice reform, bar none, of any package you will find. If you haven't had a chance to read the entire bill, I suggest you click here to go watch my video covering it, where I give you a deep dive so that you will be informed about this amazing package. Now, so Bernie's at this event. He speaks for about 40 minutes. Then he sits down with a moderator. They discuss a few topics. And then there's a Q&A session. Now, the Q&A sessions where people, for some reason, have decided they are, oh my God, they're clutching pearls and they're calling Bernie out of touch or something. I don't know. Now, the criticism that they have about Bernie Sanders revolves around the Q&A portion of his remarks, where a young African-American male asked Bernie Sanders, if I were your son, what would your advice be for the next time I was pulled over by the police? Now, according to The Root, Bernie didn't handle this well at all. He gave the young man a crazy answer that makes no sense for a black young man in the climate of police brutality, the new Jim Crow, mass incarceration. A black male student asked Sanders how he should handle getting pulled over by a police officer. Sanders responded, respect what they're doing so that you don't get shot in the back of the head. He asked a progressive, rabble-rousing Vermont congressman, if I'm your son, what advice would you give me next time I'm pulled over by a police officer? Sanders advised the youngin' to do his best to engage the officer in a polite way. Is that all it takes to put an end to the numerous murders of black people at the hands of police officers? Perhaps old Bernie should take a class. No, Daniels, perhaps you should take a class. Maybe you should take a class on ethics, journalistic responsibility, calling it straight, and generally not being a scumbag or a liar. Okay, guys, I have a clip that shows the interaction between the young man and Bernie Sanders. You watch it. Let's watch it together. Remember, you're going to be looking to see Bernie Sanders be condescending, give terrible advice, borderline bigoted racist advice, out of touch advice to a young man who asks a very logical question. That is what The Root is alleging here, and that's what a lot of the smears have been about. So let's watch this together, and let's see how horrible Bernie is and how out of touch he is about police and black folks and bad stops.
Students who have some questions.
Good day, Senator Sanders.
Great.
My question is to, my name is Jamel Lawton. I'm from Bamberg, South Carolina. I'm a sports management major. My question is to you, if I was your son, what advice would you give me the next time I pull over by a police officer?
Hold that mic a little bit closer.
I'm sorry. If I'm your son, what advice would you give me the next time I be pulled over by a police officer?
Next time you pulled over by a police officer. I would do my best to identify who that police officer is in a polite way, ask him or her for their name. I would respect what they are doing so that you don't get shot in the back of the head. But I would also be very mindful of the fact that as a nation, we have got to hold police officers accountable for the actions that they commit. And that is, so to answer your question, I would be very cautious if you were my son in terms of dealing with that police officer, but I also defend my rights and know my rights. and make sure, if possible, that police officer's camera is on what goes on.
Wow, that's not exactly what I was expecting, Johnson. I was expecting Bernie to say some crazy stuff. I mean, the Root said that Bernie told the young black man to respect what they're doing so that you don't get shot in the back of the head. That's kind of taken out of context, isn't it, Johnson? And then they say, engage the police officer in a polite way. And first of all, those aren't bad things at all to say or to advise someone to do when it comes to dealing with someone who has a gun and a badge, who could shoot you and kill you, and as we know, 9 times out of 10, not go to jail for it, and or even be charged, okay? So it's not even a bad piece of advice to say, hey, be respectful and do what he tells you to do. You don't want to get shot in the back of the head. But the bad thing about it is that the Root takes it all out of context, and they leave out a lot of stuff that Bernie said here at this conference. Bernie said, 1, get a badge number. In a polite way, ask the officer his name. Now, why does Bernie want the officer's name? Maybe Bernie wants you to ask the officer out on a date. Or maybe he wants the officer's name so that you can send him a Christmas card. Maybe he wants you to ask the officer's name because he wants you to read his palm and read his lifeline and tell him what his future is going to be based on what his name is. Maybe to see if you went to school with him. No, Bernie wants you to get the man's name or the woman's name so that later we'll know who to prosecute if he violates your civil rights. That's why you want the officer's name. And these are things that are responsible and reasonable and right. Now, then Bernie says, respect what they're doing so that you don't get shot in the back of the head. Now, this part has been the part a lot of people have been purposely misunderstanding. This is very positive. This is a good thing that Bernie said this, because Bernie's saying he don't trust the cops. He's not here pandering to the police. He's saying respect them because they might shoot you in the back of the head. Would a Republican say that? A law and order Democrat or Republican say that? No, they say you need to control, you need to comply, and it's all your fault, and it's always you blacks always doing stuff. You need to just calm down, and then you won't die. No, he's saying respect what they're doing because they might shoot you in the back of the head, which to me implies, yeah, cops shoot people in the back of the head when they don't have to. That's how I interpret that. The Root interprets it another way, and I think for a very good reason, because they're scumbags. And then Bernie says, also be very mindful of the fact that as a nation, we've got to hold police accountable. So what does that mean? Hold them accountable. Does that mean we're going to open up a checking account with them? Huh? Does that mean we're going to, become their accountant? Or does that mean that if they do something that violates your civil rights, we're going to punish them for that? We're going to get them fired, or we're going to sue that police department. That's what that means, doesn't it, Johnson? Why doesn't the Root report it straight? Bernie Sanders is only saying what black folks have been saying forever. It's the speech my mom and my dad gave me. It's the speech I've given my sons and my daughters. When dealing with the police, remain calm. Get their name and number, badge number if possible. Follow instructions. Make it home alive. If you're alive, we can get them. We can sue them if they do something that violates your rights. If you are dead, we can still sue them, but you won't be here. And I need you here. It's obvious that Bernie Sanders has been paying attention to what's going on and listening to black folks tell their stories. Bernie should be commended for understanding our situation and black folks' interaction with the police. And instead of getting credit for it, he gets smeared for it. Bernie's not some out-of-touch guy going, hey, if you just mind your business, everything will be okay. Why are you asking me what you should do? Do what you're supposed to do. He didn't say that. He said, get their badge number. Know who they are. Follow instructions because they might kill you. We want you home, safe. But no, we're going to hold that police officer accountable. That's what Bernie said. They took him out of context. It's a smear job that they're running. And you know what? We need to stand up to this type of nonsense every time it comes up, because they do this because Bernie is a threat to the power structure. Now, we know why The Root wrote this horrible article, why Carew Daniels, who doesn't own The Root, doesn't own anything, why he's writing this horrible article that's published in The Root, owned by Haim Saban of Univision, big-time Hillary booster. They hate Bernie. We know that, right? We all understand that. That's why they smear Bernie like they do. You know, I'd like to ask Carew Daniels, the author of this horrible piece of, I don't even know what you call it. I can't call it an article, Johnson. It's a hit piece. It's garbage. I'd like to ask him, did you come up with this all on your own? Did you decide to smear Bernie Sanders all on your own, or did you get help? Why couldn't you just quote him accurately? Why the smear tactics? You know, there's a saying, it's better to offer no excuse than a bad excuse. So maybe you shouldn't answer that question, because I'm sure any excuse you come up with will be a bad excuse. The bottom line is that Bernie Sanders did nothing wrong, said nothing wrong. In fact, I encourage everybody to go watch the entire length of Bernie's remarks in regards to criminal justice reform. Bernie Sanders said by executive order he will remove marijuana from Schedule I classification as drugs and narcotics, which would slow down. It wouldn't stop totally, but it would slow down dramatically mass incarceration in this country. We need to be supporting Bernie Sanders in his efforts. And stop talking to me about Trump and the First Step Act. Trump could put a big dent into criminal justice reform, a big dent into mass incarceration if he removed marijuana from Schedule I. You know he loves to use executive order powers. Why doesn't he use it in this case? We know why, because of his donors. People need to wake up to reality. All right. I'm Tim Black. Follow me here on YouTube. Subscribe to this channel. Become a member of my Wolf Pack by going here at patreon.com, Tim's Take Live. This is horrific. It's a smear article. It's garbage. And we, the people, demand better, Johnson. We demand better.